Spark Books here. Today, I'm going to explain the book, Messengers, by Stephen Martin and Joseph Marks. Take care, enjoy the book, and have a nice day. Messengers 2019 is a fascinating exploration of why we listen to, follow, or believe in some people, but not others. It explains why thoughtful experts are sometimes ignored in favor of confident blowhards. And it reveals why apparently irrelevant details, like the color of someone's lipstick or the roundness of their face, can make a huge difference to how we respond to them. Key idea number 1. Humans quickly judge messengers, not just their messages. Why would a federal probe into the 2007-8 financial crisis prefer to hear from a journalist who wrote up the tale afterward rather than the investor who regularly warned of the crash? Why did the British government choose Kevin Keegan and Ian Botham to lead its 1980s nuclear assault public awareness campaigns? Answer: easy. We rate communication on its content and messenger. Few Wall Street investors predicted the financial collapse, including Michael Burry. He realized the U.S. subprime mortgage sector was extremely hazardous. When the crash came, he and a few investors who listened made millions from his large bets against it. Few listened. Michael Lewis, author of Moneyball and The Big Short, was interviewed by authorities after the crash instead of Burry. Burry was a great investor but a poor communicator. His glass eye from a childhood tumor made one-on-one interactions unpleasant. He worked in shorts and t-shirts, unlike other Wall Street bankers. He was unpopular. Michael Lewis, though, was a successful journalist. He was a great messenger. A messenger's appearance, voice, and social, professional, or economic status are crucial. We regularly judge others based on the briefest of views and the tiniest information. Surprisingly accurate snap judgments. One study indicated that participants could properly identify a dominant, confident, competent, or warm teacher from a 10-second, silent classroom video clip. Participants' judgments matched those of term-long pupils. As this study shows, we quickly judge people as warm, competent, or successful. When we like someone, like Ian Botham's clear expertise and status as Britain's premier cricketer, we're more willing to listen to them, even concerning unrelated issues like a nuclear war. Let's explore why the messenger is as crucial as the message. Key idea number 2. Messenger's social position affects our response. The light turns green, but the automobile in front doesn't move. Honk. Eventually. Would you honk faster if the car was old and cheap or expensive? Students of social psychologists Anthony Du and Alan Gross strongly thought they would not be influenced by the seeming affluence of the person obstructing their way. They claimed they would honk more at the wealthier guy. Conversely, in 1967, Du and Gross tested this with a shiny Chrysler and a rusty Ford station wagon. They stopped at crossroads without intending to leave. A backseat passenger with a timer and recording recorder waited for honks. They found that socioeconomic status influences most people, despite their claims otherwise. 84% of delayed drivers honked at the low-status car, but only 50% at the high-status car. People honked faster and more often behind the low-status car. Socioeconomic status affects how we treat people. We respect, listen to, and follow high-status persons. One classic psychology experiment showed we'll physically follow them across the street. A suit-wearing jaywalker was 3 times more likely to be followed by pedestrians and a denim-wearing one. They said it's safe to walk by crossing the street. Messenger socioeconomic status was the sole difference. Denim-clad jaywalkers were rarely followed. Why? We're taught that talent and hard effort pay off. According to psychologist Melvin Lerner's Just World hypothesis, most individuals think the rich and powerful deserve their positions. Thus, their socioeconomic level implies intelligence and hard effort. They deserve respect, attention, and deference. Simply put, being successful makes you more listenable. Works. Key idea number 3. Status and perceived expertise create a strong messenger. The Institute for Safe Medication Practices documents hundreds of medical blunders, from the banal to the catastrophic. The patient with rectal earache was correctly supplied drops for an irritated right inner ear. Unfortunately, his doctor swiftly wrote put drops into the patient's ear. The duty nurse kindly administered 3 anti-inflammatory ear drops to the unfortunate man's rectum. This is an unusual example of a common phenomena in which individuals don't challenge a recognized authority's words, even if eardrops in a patient's backside make no sense. People will listen if you seem competent. We benefit by trusting doctors, mechanics, and accountants rather than learning their trades. The slightest evidence indicate competency. Medical professionals with stethoscopes were more likely to be remembered by patients. The stethoscope's presence conveys medical authority, even if they don't use it. Stethoscopes are unnecessary. A mature, less round, angular jaw, and high cheekbones are seen as innately competent by researchers. As youngsters, we rapidly learn that our soft-faced friends are less competent than the more mature, angular adults. Consequences: in a 2007 experiment, participants looked at headshots of politicians running for office and judged their proficiency. Competent candidates won elections, perhaps because voters saw competence in their faces. A similar study demonstrated that 5-year-old Swiss youngsters properly predicted the 2002 French legislative election results by judging participants' ability. Project competency to be heard. Carry a stethoscope or its equivalent. To appear competent, a businessman's briefcase or a builder's equipment must look the part. Key idea number 4. Dominance can convey a message. In the 1950s, Senate Majority Leader Lyndon B. Johnson used body language to wield influence. He would approach lawmakers in the hallways and breathe on their faces. After a brief meeting with Johnson, undecided senators would approve a bill. Dominance is competitive, assertive, and self-centered. In fact, a 2004 study indicated that participants could quickly identify the senior co-worker from a single shot of them discussing at work. Dominant persons have open postures, gestures, and are comfortable taking up space. Dominance is acknowledged and rewarded. Consider Tinder. According to a 2016 study, males who employ photographs in dominant, expansive postures outperform meeker, less expansive competitors. In another study, Dutch researchers discovered that the shorter shopper moved out of the way 67% of the time when two shoppers approached each other in narrow corridor. Dominance isn't only physical, words matter too. Low-pitched voices dominate. A confident, assertive voice is biological. A huge larynx needed to make a low sound is a sign of testosterone and size. High testosterone levels indicate power and dominance. That may explain why Margaret Thatcher and Theresa May, the UK's two female prime ministers, engage voice trainers to present a lower, stronger voice. That was probably wise. Political scientist Casey Klofstad manipulated male and female voices stating, "I ask you to vote for me this October." Listeners preferred lower-pitched versions. Dominant messengers get heard. They may be disliked. Let's see something prettier. Key idea number 5. Attractive messengers are more received. Even 2-month-old babies reward handsome people. In 1987, University of Texas researcher Judith Lenoir positioned babies in front of two female faces shown on a screen. One face was beautiful to adults, the other ugly. The babies linger over the pretty faces. You're thinking, attractiveness is subjective. Not really. All the evidence suggests that humans share similar tastes. 3 main factors, youth and facial symmetry, are expected. Third is surprising. Normal faces appeal to people. Unusual or startling features may indicate genetic issues. An average, symmetrical, and young face indicates decent genes. Attractiveness has several benefits. As the baby experiment shows, we notice attractive people, which benefits them in many ways. Employment. In a 2013 study, 11,000 resumes were sent to job ads, some with photos and others without. Clear findings. A resume with an attractive candidate photo received a callback 20% more often than one without a photo, but those with less attractive photos did poorly. An attractive messenger might help in the job market. Yale researchers found that mock jurors convicted beautiful criminals less often than unattractive ones in a simulated court trial. Even for rape, would-be jurors advised leniency for handsome convicts. Some methods level the playing field. We can enhance beauty. Studies suggest that guests tip higher when female servers or red lipstick. Rethinking decision-making may reduce our bias toward appearance. Recruiters may reject resumes with photos and avoid early face-to-face contact. Eventually, recruiter and candidate must reveal themselves. Attractive folks have a lifelong advantage. Key idea number 6. Messengers should engage their audience. Grigory Rasputin was reportedly unpleasant. Rasputin, the mad monk of Russia, advised Tsar Nicholas II in the early 1900s. He was a sexual deviant and manipulator. Thus, many cheered his third assassination. History also condemned Rasputin. In the 1980s, psychologists John Finch and Robert Cialdini gathered a group to analyze Rasputin's life. Most deemed him fundamentally, absolutely unlikable. Only those who thought they had a birthday with Rasputin viewed him more favorably. The participants had a minor link to Rasputin through their birthdays. Everyone needs to connect. We are tribal, and the slightest hint like a similar birth date that a messenger is on our side might sway us. We witness this daily. Cialdini also found that salesmen who emphasize a shared interest sell more. Messengers can use connection more than status. Consider highly successful Zimbabwean sexual health program. A white-coated doctor might be the ideal safe sex message. We've seen that a white coat and stethoscope convey status. The program's leaders chose braiders as their messengers. They taught these braiders how to talk to men about condom use and where to buy them. Smart choice. Friendly relationship with a trusted messenger was more effective than status when discussing safe sex. Women could chat freely with their hair braiders. Get Braids Not AIDS was a success because it introduced a more soothing public health message. Braids Not AIDS built trust. The women trusted each other and shared. Warmth will be our next blink. Key idea number 7. We inherently like warm messengers. Tenzol sued Texaco Oil in 1985 after a protracted battle. Result: the Texan state court jury fined Texaco Oil $10.5 billion, the biggest civil punishment ever. Why? It was largely because Texaco lawyers were mean. The Tenzol lawsuit was lengthy, complex, and complicated. One juror told a local newspaper shortly after the trial why the panel found against Texaco. The juror stated Texaco's top counsel was rude. Texaco's witnesses didn't look at the jurors, and one CEO was pretentious. The Tenzol team was more likable. Warm people appreciate and help others. They are polite and respectful of others' sentiments. Again, from childhood, we prefer warm, helpful messengers over cold, unhelpful ones. According to a 2007 research, 6-month-olds will gladly play with a puppet that helps another puppet climb a hill or collect a ball. They are less likely to interact with a puppet who seems indifferent to their needs. Warmth is vital because we use it to make our daily lives better. We usually start meetings with "How are you?" If we don't say hello, people will think we're nasty or have an emergency. Communicate plainly and warmly to make an impact. One of the writers recently studied U.S. bus operators and found that drivers who were greeted with "Hey, be safe today," or "We truly appreciate your work," had less unnecessary accidents and issues. Warm words can enhance productivity and save lives. Warm messengers naturally comfort, reassure, and reward others. Warmth helps you connect with an audience. Let's try vulnerability to connect. Key idea number 8. Our vulnerability can inspire our audience to help. In August 2018, Theresa May was mocked for dancing with South African school children. May's wooden dancing reinforced her robotic, frigid image. It was a surprise when Theresa May danced to ABBA's Dancing Queen before her keynote speech at the Conservative Party conference months later. Her dancing hadn't improved. Her self-mocking awkward dance was well received, despite some laughs. Why? Because she appeared more human by joyously embracing her frailty. Given May's rhythmlessness, ABBA's BJRN obvious called the performance daring and poignant. Most of us fear losing status if we show uneasiness or vulnerability. However, communicating our honest thoughts, traits, and feelings boosts connection and outweighs status loss. Because others can relate, "Hey, I'm kind of embarrassed by my stupid dancing too," or just understand us better. Humans may empower vulnerable people by highlighting their needs. A 2011 study examined doctors' cleanliness. Signs suggesting washing hands protects you from disease did not increase hand sanitizing. A sign reminding doctors that basic hand hygiene prevents infections increased gel use by 45%. Vulnerability affects even fictitious animals. The 1995 film Babe about a lovable talking pig that walks away from his farm after learning that humans eat pigs, was so well received that the U.S. Department of Agriculture reported a decline in pork product sales. The film's farmer, James Cromwell, became vegan. We'll discuss trustworthiness in the next blink. Key idea number 9. We react based on a messenger's credibility. Trust is vital to life. From intimate connections to basic economic transactions, trust is essential. Messengers are trusted when an audience takes a chance on them. They'll trust you because you're trustworthy, not what you say. How can we develop trust? Studies, and likely your own life, show that regularity is crucial. We begin to trust someone after regular, pleasant interactions. A 2003 study studied conversations between 161 telecoms engineers. Researchers found that two-way communicators are the most productive and trustworthy engineers. Talk to, help, and be kind to coworkers, and they'll learn to trust you. How do we determine trustworthiness? Most of us can't count how many times we've chatted to coworkers. Instead of thoroughly assessing a person's trustworthiness, we often make a blanket judgment about their character. This causes issues. For instance, a liar can be trusted. Trump. His followers believe he is honest. He lies. According to the Washington Post, President Trump has made 9,000 misleading or untrue comments. According to his fans, Trump sticks to his ideals. He promised to build a wall, cut taxes, prevent some Muslims from entering the U.S., and fight China. He's always kept his promises. His constituents trust him. Trump's message doesn't determine your response. How you react to Trump on TV and social media depends on how you feel about him. Trump proves messengers matter. We evaluate messages beyond their content. We quickly analyze the messenger's standing or how they interact with us as humans by showing vulnerability or trustworthiness. We trust people based on their appearance and speech rather than their intelligence or coherence.
To view more content like this, subscribe. Don't forget to like and turn on notifications. The channel really benefits from it. I appreciate you being here.